Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Big crackdown on illegal immigration. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Fulfilling a campaign promise, President Trump has ordered the immediate construction of a wall on the southern border. And not only that.
Our order also does the following. Ends the policy of catch and release at the border. Requires other countries to take back their criminals. They will take them back. Cracks down on sanctuary cities. Empowers ICE officers to target and remove those who pose a threat to public safety.
Mr. Trump signing two executive orders earlier today, which send a signal, a strong signal, that illegal immigration is going to be dealt with in a very aggressive way. To explain further, catch and release is a policy reinstituted by President Obama, where those sneaking across the southern border could ask for asylum and almost immediately be set free, sometimes handed a bus ticket that you and I paid for to an address anywhere in the USA. Few of those released ever return for their court hearings. That policy was a scandal. Now it's finished. Secondly, the sanctuary cities, as you know, have openly defied federal law for decades. Now, federal funds may be denied to those places. So on day 3 of President Trump's first week in office, he sent shockwaves through the liberal communities. Also, Mr. Trump is calling for a federal investigation into voter fraud, where he alleges that millions of illegal aliens are voting. That's a good thing, the investigation. We should know if fraud on Election Day is real or not. Also, the president has informed the city of Chicago that if the murder epidemic there doesn't stop, federal authorities will intervene. Another good thing. And that intrusion is likely to happen as Illinois Governor Bruce Runner and Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel will not stop the brutal gang killings. They just won't do it, which have taken thousands of innocent lives. How that situation has been allowed to go on for years is another scandal, and perhaps the most vivid illustration of racism Talking Points has ever seen. So President Trump is acting quickly, and according to a Rasmussen Daily presidential tracking poll, Americans are taking notice. Today, the poll has 57% of likely U.S. voters approving of Donald Trump's job performance, 43% disapproving. It remains to be seen, however, whether a border wall will be effective, whether sanctuary cities will finally obey the law, and whether ending the catch and release program will slow down illegal border crossings. But at this point, strong federal action is being taken, no question about it. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight is Kate's Law next. As you may know, the factor was instrumental in proposing a federal law that would impose tough mandatory federal prison terms for foreign criminals convicted who defy deportation. Kate's Law was sabotaged by the villain, Senator Harry Reid, but will now be reintroduced. Joining us from Philadelphia, Congressman Steve King, who's promoting the law in the House, Senator Ted Cruz doing the same thing in the Senate. So where are we on Kate's Law, Senator Cruz?
Well, good evening, Bill. It's good to join you. Kate's Law, as you noted in the last Congress, we brought it up for a vote. The House of Representatives passed it, and the Senate Democrats filibustered it. We got 3 votes in the Senate last time around. I hope and believe we'll bring it up for a vote again, but this time we're going to have a president, unlike Barack Obama, a president who supports Kate's Law, supports a mandatory minimum sentence of at least 5 years in prison for aggravated felons who illegally re-enter this country.
Sure, and if they do
it, you know, it was named.
Now,
yes.
Why do you think President
Obama...
Obama...
it was named after Kate Steinle, who you shine the light on so powerfully. The terrible story where she was murdered by a career criminal who kept coming into this country over and over and over again. Kate Steinle should never have been killed. And if the laws made sense, that wouldn't have happened. Right.
This guy, this low-level drug dealer, came back 7 times after being deported 6 times.
Yep.
Why do you think, Senator Cruz, that Barack Obama, President Obama, didn't get behind the law?
Well, unfortunately, President Obama and an awful lot of congressional Democrats support illegal immigration. They give a little bit of rhetoric to the contrary.
This is violence. This isn't illegal immigration.
But they don't distinguish among them. And so the Obama administration repeatedly released violent criminal illegal aliens. They released murderers. They released rapists.
Right.
You know, Bill, I was down in the border at McAllen a couple of months ago, and I was visiting with Border Patrol and sheriffs and law enforcement. And it was right after the presidential election. And the degree of relief of these men and women who risked their lives trying to keep this country safe, because in the Border Patrol, For 8 years, they've had political leadership telling them, don't do your job. You'll be punished for doing your job. And I think that changed on January 20th. I think today's orders were an example of strong leadership from President Trump.
All right. Now, Congressman King, you're a hero, too, along with Senator Cruz, because you're driving this law in the House. It's not going to have any problem in the House. It's the Senate where they're going to have to get a few Democrats over, which I agree with Senator Cruz that will happen. Joe Manchin will come over. A few others will come over. Where is your bill, Congressman King, and Senator Cruz's bill, and Senator Grassley's a hero, too? Is it compatible now? Is it the same wording? Have you guys reconciled it?
It is. We're reconciled on the language, and it's happened before that Senator Cruz and I have matched up on legislation that just by, I'll say, proper instinct rather than planning it. But we came together on this in that fashion, and Matt Salmon had this bill at last Congress. He's retired, so I picked it up verbatim and introduced it into the Congress. We're gathering signatures now. I didn't check the numbers, but they're just growing and it's early. I serve on the Judiciary Committee. It's a natural for me to take it up. And it passed the Congress, last Congress, 241 to 179. And we have a president who's calling for it. So I'm confident it will pass the House and probably fairly early in this Congress.
All right. So I was going to say, Senator Cruz, what's the time frame on this?
Well, I hope sooner rather than later.
But, I mean, we're talking weeks, months. What are we talking?
You know, that's going to be a decision for Mitch McConnell. I'm certainly pressing for the vote as soon as possible. And we've got 10 red state Democrats who are up for election in states in 2018 that Donald Trump carried. And I got to say, if you're a red state Democrat, you can't be thrilled about the prospect of voting in favor of letting in career criminals, especially when you have a president of the United States who I hope is going to be shining. Of course it should.
Should it be unanimous? I mean, is it, who? I mean, just think about it. Think about it. You got a violent, convicted criminal, convicted here in the United States, not in Bolivia. All right? And you deport him at our expense, and he comes back, and you don't want to put him in jail for 5 years? What? Why? It's insane.
It is exactly right. But you know, Bill, in the last Congress, the head of the Immigration Enforcement Unit under Obama was testifying in the Senate Judiciary Committee, and I asked her a simple question. I said, how many murderers, illegal aliens with homicide convictions, did DHS, did the Obama administration release this week? She said, I don't know. I asked how many rapists. She said, I don't know. I said, how many people committed an aggravated assault? I don't know. That's crazy, and the answer should be 0, 0, and 0. And I hope and believe with this new president, with this new administration,
I just hope that the Democratic Party,
violent criminals to prey on the
Congressman
American
King, I just hope the Democratic Party and the reps in the House would join with the Republicans, you know, and just put up and say, look, enough of this madness. We're going to do the right thing. We're going to come together and pass Kate's law. And the Steinle family at least would have that. Last word, Congressman King.
Jim and Liz Steinle deserve our prayers, and they deserve the action of the United States Congress, the House and the Senate. And I know that when Jim testified before the House Judiciary Committee, it was heartbreaking. And the courage that brought him to that Congress to deliver that story of his daughter being shot in the back and dying in his arms. When I saw that happen in the news the first day, I sent out a tweet that said, this will make you cry. Thinking of it even this many months pastward, that's what it does. We've got to step up and serve this. It's not 124 families or so that are grieving here. It is thousands of families all together over the years.
And Americans who are grieving with them.
In his arms were, please help me.
That's right. And Brad Steinle, too, the brother.
Congress hears that plea and answers.
Okay. All right, guys. You're doing great work, and we really appreciate you coming on tonight.